Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's December 4th, 2020. We only have a couple more weeks left in the year. I think we're all looking forward to this year moving on for us. All right, so our agenda today, we will start out with some success stories. I know of at least 3 landings so far. We'll then go to our 30-second introductions. Allow everybody to put their contact information into the chat field. And then we will publish all that this afternoon in my email that goes out to everybody. We'll then do some committee reports, find out about job fairs, workshops, hear from the PIT crew, the Interview Success Workshop, and then we will share the career tip of the week. And then our main event today is open forum, so we'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. So hopefully you're thinking of some questions as we get going here. For those people, if you don't have your full first and last name in, we ask that you go and edit your name. And if you just hover over the more mute button, up will come rename, and please enter your whole full name. Let me take a look real quick and see if anybody needs to do that. Oh, great. Everybody has done that. All right. Wonderful, everybody. Thank you very much for doing that. If you have any questions, you can, anytime you want, you can open up the chat box and put your questions in there. For those people who are on Facebook, please just use the comment field. I am monitoring that feed, and we'll answer any questions that pop up there. And also, when you put your contact information in, I will delete that right after the meeting's over. Please note this event is currently live and being recorded, and it's on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career FW Facebook page and on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you post a comment in the chat box, you have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comments, name, and picture to appear. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. I've been facilitating this group since 2007. The group actually started in the late 1990s. The person who was leading the group at the time, back in 2007, landed a job, asked who wanted to take over. I think I scratched my face. He said, "Okay, Jeff, you're it." So I've been doing that ever since. In 2008, I started careerdfw.org, a website to help people in the DFW area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help people outside the DFW area in their job search. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. You can get it on Amazon for 15 bucks, or if you want to drive by the house and throw 10 bucks out the window, I will attempt to throw a book into your window as you drive by slowly. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. Well, we like to start the meeting off with good news. I know we have at least 3 landings, and I know the first person, here we go. Chris, tell us your good news.
Hey, yes, thanks for the opportunity. Good morning, everybody. This is Chris Taylor. I landed a role this week at Ensemble Health Partners, which is a revenue cycle company in the healthcare space. I guess my appreciation for this group and others, and hopefully some encouragement this morning. Guys, today is Friday. I learned about this opportunity 2 Fridays ago. So this was a testament to what we keep talking about, networking. This was a contact that I knew, reached out, sent my notes through LinkedIn. She responded back in 2 hours. I've got an opportunity, 2 interviews the following week, offer this week, done. So guys, it can happen. And it happens really fast sometimes. So what a blessing to be able to share that. And want to certainly extend that encouragement to everybody today, because sometimes this has been about 5 months for me in active search, and been down the trail pretty far with a couple other opportunities that took much longer, but this is great to be able not only to share this, but hopefully to let you know. It came in a sense, it came out of the blue, but actually it didn't. It was what we say to do. Work your network, follow up, network, connect, ask for opportunities, all the above. So thanks for letting me share, and wish everybody the best in your search.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. Wow. In 2 weeks. So that should just let everybody else know, don't stop looking right now, because you never know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see here. Is Sonia on the line? Okay, she just texted me that she just emailed me this morning saying that she's landed. She'll be working for 4 Aerospace. I think she's a buyer. So she'll be starting on Monday. So who knows, she may have some jobs, things she's got to get done this week. So that's landing number 2. That makes landing number 87 from our group for the year. And one more landing I want to announce. My daughter has landed. Yay! She's landed at Upworks as a product designer in the matching department. Upworks is a website where if you're an independent contractor, you can go and find jobs to match with. And she gave me some statistics. It was really interesting. She said, I searched for 4 months. She'll actually, when she starts in 2 weeks, it'll be 5 months almost to the day when she was laid off from IBM, along with 25,000 other people. So she searched for 4 months. She applied to 65 different jobs. She had 25 networking conversations. She completed 9 round 1 interviews, 5 final round interviews, and she had 2 final offers. So she'd gotten a final offer from Facebook and an offer from Upworks, and decided that Upworks was something she was much more excited to hear. And then I listened to everything my dad told me. Well, no, she really didn't listen to everything my dad told me, but I thought I had to put this on here and tell you that she listened. She did listen to a lot of the things we mentioned, so it was pretty amazing. So she was really happy. She just actually flew back. She was here in Dallas for the last 2 months and just flew back to San Francisco on Wednesday. So she is glad to be back into her place and glad to have a job coming up here in a couple of weeks. So 87 landings so far for the year. Do we have anybody else, any other landings or success stories we need to know about? Going once, going twice. All right, we'll keep going here. Okay, it's time for everybody to open up your chat window, and please enter your name, phone number, email address, position you're looking for, a couple target companies, and then please hit the return key so we get all that information together. For those of you on Facebook, you are welcome to enter this information, and immediately after this meeting, I will go delete those comments out of the comment field. By doing this, I'll be able to capture all this information. So if you're using this meeting for Texas Workforce Commission or for a work, as a work search thing, I'll be able to grab all this information on here. So we'll use 60 seconds on the clock, and here we go. So hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to put their information into the chat box. I will capture that information and I will put it out in an email this afternoon. So if anybody has, please put that in there. Once again, for those people on Facebook, if you put your information in the comment field, I will go delete all that information right after this meeting so that it won't be hanging out there forever and ever. All right, let's see here. Whoops. Good morning, Eldon. Let's hear about some job fairs and training workshops coming up next week.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Of course, I'm Eldon Zarinsky. I'm in charge of this part of the committee reports, career and job fairs, special workshops. The information that I'm about to convey to you comes from the website careerdfw.org, the calendar tab, which is up there right now. I focus on career and job fairs and special workshops or events. I go fairly quickly through my list, so if you hear something that piques your interest, I urge you to go to the calendar, click on that item, and there's usually a link on there that will allow you to find out more about it and or register. All right, this week's career and job fairs. The Arlington Career Fair by National Career Fairs will be held at Hilton Garden Inn's Dallas Arlington South at 521 East Interstate 20 in Arlington on Thursday, December 10th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And that actually is going virtual from 10 to 6. So check the link for all the latest information.
Yeah, and I noticed the live hire fair got eliminated. I checked this morning. I actually had another one on there, but noticed it was removed.
Yes.
Special workshops or events. Online only at this time, the Who You Know Career Transition Summit. That's held virtually on Zoom, and there's a link in the calendar for that. And those are held on Monday, December 7th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and hosted by Foster Williams. If you don't know Foster, I urge you to get to know him.
One more thing about that, Ellen, while I've got you on the line, is that this summit is only going now every other week, first, third, and fifth Mondays. So we won't see it next week, but when you go to register, you'll see whatever dates are available. Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't see that on there. Online LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. online. There's a Zoom link for that. This is a rotating presentation that's put on by Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vandemotter. It's Tuesday, December 8th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Also online, Interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m. special guest series. This is will be a presentation, distinctive interviewing with Walt Glass, and that will be again Wednesday, December 9th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Online Resume Thursdays with Carol Brickell, Certified Professional Career Coach, will be held via Zoom and also on Facebook on Thursday, December 10th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Finally, on Thursday, December 10th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., Successful Interviewing. This is put on by St. Andrews Career Care. And again, our speaker will be Walt Glass. There's a Zoom link for that and also Facebook access as well. And that's it for this week. Back to you.
Great. Thank you very, very much.
All right.
Excuse me?
On the Thursday announcement, it's going to be on informational interviewing.
Right. Okay. Informational interviewing on Thursday. Okay.
I'm sorry, Walt. I actually did have that in there. It was, I didn't change the header. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is successful. No, I'm sorry. Informational interview. I didn't change the header. I'm sorry. My mistake.
Not a problem. I'll speak on something once in a while. I don't know what the topic is either until I turn it on.
Thank you, Walt. All right. For those people if you're trying to find other webinars, other teleseminars, other things that you can attend virtually, if you will click on find a networking group holding an online meeting, you can click here and up will come this purple calendar and you'll find all the events with links that you can watch from the comfort of your own home or chair. If you know somebody who just lost their job, actually, there's 716,000 people lost their jobs in the last or filed for unemployment for the first time. If you know anybody around the country who's unemployed or just got laid off and they really don't know what to do, reach out to them and help them. Tell them about some of the things that Career DFW and Career USA are doing. Tell them they can click right here. Up will come an article with all sorts of great links and things that they can use to hopefully benefit or help them in their job search and help them get going. Time for the practice interview team. Good morning, Mark.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm just now posting up my contact information, including my LinkedIn profile. So I encourage you to link in with me and use that profile and just send a brief note that says, we met on the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, and that's all I need. Most of my contacts are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's where I've worked all except for 5 years of my professional career. So please do that. And my story is I was in the telecommunications equipment market. You probably know it now as IT infrastructure. And it started to go downhill with the recession in 2000. And so between 2002 and 2012, I got laid off 3 times. In that industry, and the third time was much more difficult to get back, and I never did. I took a bridge job and then I retired a couple of years ago. But it was when I got started with the pit crew. It was late 2000. It was early 2013 when I got involved with the pit crew, and I've been doing that ever since. So the pit crew is all about helping you improve your interviewing skills. Now, I used to say build your confidence, but the pit crew is evolving, and for the next webinar cycle, I'm going to be focusing on how you connect with the interviewer. So interviewing involves some basic things like preparing and getting a good start and your star stories, and dealing with difficult questions like tell me about a time that you failed. So that's the basics. And so you want to come and practice and get those basics down so you can focus on connecting with the interviewer when you're actually in the interview. And so that's kind of the second level, the next level of interviewing skills. And that's where we want to get you to. So you do that by providing the pit crew a copy of your resume and a job description. So it's a very personalized and customized experience. And so instead of telling you all about it, because about 95% of you have heard this before, if you want to know some more information about the pit crew, send an email to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com, and I'll respond with a description of how it works and what you need to do to get involved. And but just briefly, we meet every day of the week. They're virtual, so it takes 2 days, usually maybe 3 sometimes, to set up your interview. So if you send your information on Monday, we'd be shooting for an interview on Wednesday or possibly Thursday. And it takes a couple of days because there's your time, your schedule, and then the interviewer's schedule. All the interviewers have been hiring managers, so you're getting quality feedback. The interviews take about 45 minutes. You get a video as well, and there's no cost involved at all. So when you're ready, please reach out to the pit crew. You can practice more than once, and practice early, practice often. And we're going to talk about the webinar later. Yeah. So thanks, Jeff.
You want to talk about the one thing you help people with?
Yeah, I can talk about coaching. So besides helping with the pit crew, I coach on one topic, just one topic. I'm very focused and specialized in this. And that topic is, how do you answer the question, why did you leave your last job? And it may not be your last job. It may be the one before that, or it may be 2 or 3 jobs where you only worked a year or 2. There's good ways to explain this. I have a strategy, and every case is unique. So we'll spend some time talking, and I'll understand your situation, and then we'll come up with how to answer that question. Why did you leave your last position? Because you want to do that with brevity and confidence. But also any follow-up questions that might be generated. HR interviewers in particular are intensely curious about why people leave their roles, and so they may ask more than one question, and you want to be prepared for that. So if you're going to struggle with that, if it's going to cause you to be anxious, that'll show through in the interview. So let's have a conversation so that you're confident and positive about what's happened to you in the past.
Great. Thank you very, very much. Good morning. Let's see here. Well, we don't need that slide. Here we go. Oops, I guess, let me see here. Here we go. I guess I didn't have sorry, I saw the slide on one monitor. I didn't have the other slide up on the other one. So good morning, Walt.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. Let me ask you a question. Well, let me tell you my background. I'm retired IT for a number of years that I don't really care to mention. But I want to ask you this, since I'm focusing on helping people with interviewing skills, are you really prepared for the job interview? And I would ask you to compare the time you spend on your resume, which gets you in the door, to your interview, which gets you into the company. How much time have you spent practicing and working on that? Do you really need to know? Do you know really what you got to do to get prepared? And we say that we're selling ourselves. And what does that really mean? I mean, when we sell ourselves, just what is that? Because there's some more details behind that word. And have you considered how you would open your interview? How would you close your interview? Because salespeople close, and this interview is definitely a selling situation. Do you know what kind of questions you might be asked and how you might look at options, strategies, and structures to respond to those questions? You certainly can't prepare for all of them, but what can we do for those types of questions and get the fundamentals clear in our minds? Do you know how to establish connection and rapport, which is what Mark was just talking about? And how can you demonstrate your expertise and your value in your interview? Well, the workshop is free. It's not a mock interview. It is very much a learning interview. I call it learning without squirming. No hot seat here, no stress, no fear. We're just here to improve ourselves and get better so that we can be successful in an interview. It's free. You do need to be registered to attend. There's an email address, my Yahoo email address, and look at my LinkedIn About section, and it'll give you details on how to register. Just send me an email and I'll send you some dates that we can get you. I do it always on Tuesdays and sometimes intermittently in between, depending on demand. So it's coming up Christmas time. There'll be some times that I'm not going to be available. So if you'd like to sign up, now's the time to do it. Be glad to have you join. So is interviewing like a ritual satanic that causes you stress and panic? No worry, no fear. Practice interviewing is here. It'll keep you off the Titanic.
Thank you very much, Walt.
Well, did you really rhyme with satanic?
Well, I started with Titanic and had to work backwards.
Very good. Thank you very, very much. All right, it's time for our career tip of the week. Sue Ellen's not going to be with us for the next few weeks. Bobby is a little bit under the weather, and so she's taking care of Bobby. So, Roxanne, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. This week's career tip of the week is how to figure out whether your values align with the prospective employers by Elizabeth Yuko. So you've hit the point in your job search where you're asked to interview with a prospective employer. Considering how many applications are either ignored or filtered out before they make it in front of an actual human, getting an interview in itself is a win. By now, you're probably familiar with the concept of using job interviews as a way not only to express why you're right for the position, but also figure out if the organization is right for you. Typically, the focus is on finding out whether the company's culture is a fit for you. And that's certainly important, but so is the company's values. Christy Hedges, a senior leadership coach who specializes in executive communications, wrote in a recent article in the Harvard Business Review. Here's how to determine what an organization's values are and whether they mesh with your own. Career versus culture versus values. What's the difference between a company's culture and their values? Here's how Hedges explains it. Culture determines how work gets done, but values show the companies prioritize, make decisions, and reconcile conflict. A culture may celebrate innovations, but values determines what gets sacrificed in the pursuit of it. According to Hedges, learning about an organization's values is a three-step process involving the following. Number one, identify your own values. First, you have to determine what values are most important to you. As Hedges explains, in this context, your values are the tenets that are central to who you want to be in the world. If they're infringed upon, you will feel it acutely. A few examples include honesty, integrity, positivity, quality, service, and trust. Make a list of questions. Number two, before the interview, Hedges suggests putting together some questions that will reveal the values of a company prioritizes. These are typically one open-ended questions that ask the interviewer to provide specific examples, she writes. The goal is to elicit information that you can compare to your own values, not to ask for confirmation. This means staying away from leading questions like, I value honesty. Can you give me an example of how honesty is valued here? And going with some of the following courtesy of Hedges. Who has done well in similar role as this one? What makes them a high performer? Who hasn't performed as well and how so? What are promotable qualities here? Who is someone at my level that's been recently promoted? What qualities did they exemplify? What behaviors are not tolerated here? What's a situation when these were violated? What happened? Describe the culture. How has your perception evolved over time? Can you share an instance when the culture has surprised you? What's an example of conflict at the company around strategy or direction? What led to the conflict and how was it resolved? When you were in my seat, what were you told that was helpful during doing well here? What could you tell me that you wish to have known? Feel free to ask follow-up questions, including requesting specifics. Number three, rate the interviewer. As soon as you finish the interview, you have a minute to take some time to rank the company's responses to each of the questions about your core values. Hedges offers this 1 to 5 scale to assess the interview. Value was never mentioned. Value was mentioned but not demonstrated. Value was occasionally demonstrated. Value was clearly and frequently demonstrated. This company models the value. When you're done, you should have a better idea of whether the company is a fit for you based upon the shared values. Unfortunately, this isn't a guarantee everything will always line up, but at least it should help minimize surprises. That's the tip of the week, and everyone have a great weekend.
Great, thank you very, very much. All righty. So coming up today, well, just a little bit, we'll do open forum. So hopefully you've got your list of questions of things that we want to find out about, and we will get those questions answered, or we'll come up with some answers with people who are here online. Next Friday, a very interesting presentation, tracking network leads with Excel. People talk about how do you keep track of what should you be doing, and how do you keep track of things, and how do you build an Excel spreadsheet. John Poe is a certified Excel instructional designer. And he is going to help us build one. And so what you're going to want to do is, if you can, you're going to want to have, this open on one thing and have Excel open on another field, or whatever program you used for a database program. And we'll go through, and we want to actually build one from scratch. And then he'd like to have people show theirs, whatever they're using, or whatever, if they'll share their slides or their Excel spreadsheet for other people to see, kinds of fields they're capturing. So it should be a very interesting presentation next week. Coming up after that, we talked about that. The last Friday, the 18th, will be the last Friday that we meet. And as we have done for the last several years, we have somebody from H&R Block, who's a certified tax consultant, and she's been doing this for many years. She's going to talk about taxes and how it relates to the unemployed, and things we need to be thinking about, things you may think about for tax deductions, things to sort of prepare. And then Friday's Christmas and New Year's, so we will not have any sessions then. We will be back on January 8th with open forum again. So we just have 2 more meetings for the month after today. Just a reminder, the Career DFW and the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are 2 different organizations. Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit I started back in 2008. The North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group are a great bunch of people who get together on Friday mornings, hopefully in 2021 back in person again. They help each other, they share leads. And the only common thread between the 2 organizations is that I happen to lead both. The fact that we're broadcasting live on the Career DFW Facebook page is just because I'm trying to be able to get this out for more people who be able to see it. Another thing, the Yahoo groups are going away. As of December 15th, all of your Yahoo groups that you're part of will be gone. They will no longer be usable. Verizon, I think, bought them, and they're going to shut it down. So you need to make sure that you join our new group at group.io. It's North Dallas Plano CFG. So you everybody who is on the active roster should have received a invitation this past week. I also invited anybody who landed in the last 2 years to join the group. I will put this back out on the Yahoo group. If for anybody who's brand new to the meeting this morning, if I have your contact information in the chat box, I will send you an invitation from now on to the group.io, and I will send that to you this afternoon as soon as we're done with this meeting, and invite you to join the group. So if you want to get future notices, please be sure to join the group. Group.io is written by the same people who wrote the Yahoo Groups app many years ago. So it's almost identical in the way it functions. It's got the same options and stuff. So, please join if you want to hear, because like I said, the Yahoo groups are going to be going away. If you have never joined the group and you've never been part of our Yahoo group, I'm verifying everybody who joins has been a member or a past member with the roster I have, which is 15 years old probably. So if I don't find your email address on that roster, I'll send you a personal note to find out who you are if you don't fill in any contact information. So please join the group. Okay, it's time for open forum, the main event. We're going to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. I already see there's been a couple comments in the chat box. I see a couple things. One, it looks like the Facebook feed has frozen up, so I don't know if Facebook's actually running. And there were a couple people commented that the link to join the meeting didn't work. I will check those because the link has not changed. It should not change for the next 3 or 4 months. So I'll have to verify that and find out what's going on. So I will check on those this afternoon and make sure the links on the website are correct. I understand you could get in using the password and the meeting ID number. So, you know, sorry about that for the link that wasn't working. All right, so let me stop sharing, and it's open forum. So if you've got something a question you'd like to ask the group, please either unmute your mic or you can raise your hand and ask away. Laura.
Question, has anybody else gotten something from TWC saying they need to call in?
Anybody else received anything from TWC to call in? No.
Gee, I guess I'm the lucky one.
Oh, wait,
No.
where's Michelle?
Yes, I have. I am actually I've had to file an appeal because they want their money back.
Ooh,
So I guess I got a phone call first. And I had to call them within like 2 days. So I actually consulted with an attorney so that I could file my appeal correctly. It may take 6 to 8 weeks before I ever hear back about the appeal and actually have a tribunal.
so I've called about 4 different numbers and I've spoken to a couple of people, but they're all the contractors. They're not the people who actually work for TWC. And so 2 of them have told me that TWC has a question about my biweekly certification. Well, I did it on Sunday like I'm supposed to. I have the confirmation notice that I did it. But the contractors can't even transfer me to TWC because of the call volume. Even they can't get me over there. So, you know.
Right, well, just
And of
keep
course,
trying.
and the other thing is that TWC never sent me any correspondence. They didn't send me an email or a letter. They didn't put anything in my correspondence inbox in my account. I just happened to go to my homepage this morning and in fine print all the way at the bottom, it says, call by December 4th or we will not pay you.
Okay, so everybody probably needs to go check their homepage on their TWC
Yes.
page to make sure that
I would advise that. Check your correspondence box too. But again, they didn't put anything in my correspondence box. It's one sentence all the way at the bottom of my homepage. And truthfully, I really haven't reread my homepage over the last couple of months because the information hasn't changed. You know, it was only because my husband said to me, hey, we haven't received your payment in our account yet. And I went, really? So again, they didn't send me an email, didn't send me a letter. So if you're receiving benefits, I would suggest that you go and check your account in all places possible and imaginable, just in case.
Right, and I imagine, you know, this is probably because starting in November, you had to start keeping job logs again. So, you know, I imagine that, you know, they're pushing this out to many different people and stuff. So yeah, please check, please verify. And I know in Michelle's case, I know that, you know, for overpayment or whatever, I know there was they figured out that like 10% of the people who were getting money from TWC had been overpaid and that TWC was going to try to go back and get that money from people. So just be aware that you may be getting a letter, check your correspondence very carefully because if you need to appeal, you need to appeal correctly and follow the rules. So yeah, Laura, thank you for bringing that up for everybody as a little flag. Jeff, did you have a question? Jeff Huggins? Whoop, you just muted yourself. There you go.
Yeah, I did have a question.
Okay.
Besides my own personal job search, I'm also trying to help my son who is underemployed in Colorado. And I'm searching for recommendations for a coach that could work with him personally. And I've got a few names from various groups, but if anybody has a recommendation of a coach that could hire or voluntarily work with my son in Colorado to help him out, it would be great. He's an engineer. He has been working in a grocery store for the past couple of years because he got laid off and hasn't been able to land a new job, and he just needs some help. And I'm too far away to be of much benefit. So if anybody's got a recommendation, if you could email it to me, that'd be great. Call me. My information's in the chat. I'd just appreciate hearing from anybody.
Jeff, if you want to send me, oh, go ahead, Glenn.
I was just going to ask where in Colorado he was. Or
He's just north of Denver in Lafayette. He's near Boulder.
Okay. Jeff, if you want to send me an email, I can send you a couple names of people who I've heard good things from. So
great.
You're welcome to.
Yeah, and he's entry level. He got a job for a couple of years right out of school, and then got laid off and hadn't been able to land a new one yet.
Okay.
So Jeff, are you looking for someone in where he lives? Because I mean, almost all of this is done online now.
Yeah, no, just somebody though that we can get to provide him a little personal attention.
You should try Andy Cook here in Dallas.
Okay, I'll take that name down.
ANDI.
ANDI, okay.
The website is Maximize Your Job Search.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the pit crew's got a couple of people who are involved in the pit crew. I'll reach out to you.
Okay, great.
All right. Something else we can help somebody with? Michelle, if you're talking, you're muted. So.
Sorry, I wanted to offer some contact information for GWC. It's Kathy Mills, Kathee Mills. She did reach out to the groups here months ago to help us as far as verifying background and stuff. I would contact her if you can't get anybody through. I got a call too. I've been cut off. So, but anyhow, see if you can contact Kathy Mills. She works from home, and she can verify your benefits. She can help you with that, whatever background information you need.
Do you have a phone number or an email address for her?
I can send it to you. I don't know.
Or if you want, when you find it, you can put it in the chat and I'll
Yeah,
get
if
it.
you would
Thank
just
you,
put it-
Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah, please
Thank
put
you,
the chat. That would be great for everybody. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So I have a request if anybody's interested, especially perhaps some pit crew members. So I am a member of the advisory board for the NAF Academies at Emmett Conrad High School in Dallas IC. They are starting to work on resume reviews and mock interviews with juniors and seniors, and they're looking for some volunteers who are willing to sign up over the next several weeks going into the new year to review some resumes, have conversations with the students, and then perhaps do some mock interviews. So if you're interested, please let me know in the chat and then we can talk later.
Great, thank you very much. And Patty put Andy Cook's LinkedIn profile in the chat box, so you can get that out of the chat box. Lisa asked a question here. I had 2 successful interviews with HR reps last week. Both told me I was a perfect match and they were going to set up an interview. This week I followed up, but no response. What's the best way to follow up with them for a second time? Suggestions, anyone?
Lisa, how did you say you followed up? Was that by email or phone call or LinkedIn? How did you follow up?
Right, I followed up by email.
Okay.
But I guess today I'm gonna call. So has anybody else,
if you have numbers, I would say definitely call. That's my opinion.
right, other than just saying, what's the status? I'm trying to think of a more effective way to answer, to ask the question so that I'll get a response back, so I just didn't know if anybody else had seen that, what you did to get around it, so.
Well, if you have a phone number, reach out to the person, tell them you're excited about hearing from them. You're looking forward to the follow-up to the, to our next conversation. If you don't, say if you don't get them on the phone, when you leave a message, say, and if I don't hear back from you by next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, I will call you next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And if you don't hear them next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, you call them and you tell them, I'm sorry I missed you. I'll call you next Friday at noon. And you call them Friday at noon. And you just make sure that you always tell them what you're going to do if they don't hear back from you. And, until they get a restraining order and tell you not to call anymore, keep reaching out to them.
Okay, Jeff.
Gently.
Thanks, Jeff.
I can give you a couple of ideas besides just asking for status, which is really a pain in the neck to people who are hiring. There's a couple of options for you. One is there something in an interview that you would like to compliment that interviewer about, or that contact? Did they say something or do something that you thought was a really important thing to include and to discuss in the interview? And so I'm glad thank you for asking. I enjoyed our discussion about, or whatever it might be. Another option is, we've talked about this and I have some other ideas about how we might approach this. So you're trying to gain another conversation or something like that to talk about where you can help them for the particular job. So it's not just tell me what the status is. Then certainly I agree with closing it, but then if I don't hear from you by this date, I'll contact you again on whatever, put the date.
Right. And I think in Lisa, what you said is that you've only heard from the initial HR rep, so you really haven't had that first interview. So just tell them you're excited to talk to them. You're excited about hearing from the company and that you're looking forward to interview. Listen, you don't know what people's schedules are. People taking vacations, people leaving town. I know just watching my daughter's 4 months or the last couple of months that she was here in Dallas, her job search is that, she hear from somebody and then not hear from anybody for a week or week and a half. And all of a sudden they'd want to schedule something like in 2 days. So, you're at their schedule. Our schedule, we would like to get that phone call today, have an interview in a couple days and have a follow-up a couple days later. They don't work on our schedule. We're having to work on their schedule whenever they can fit us in.
I suggest you script it out because you'll probably be leaving a voice message.
Right.
Yeah, good idea. Okay.
Yes. And what Walt said, I mean, you want to express yourself from their perspective, right? So, based on the job description, I've got some ideas how I could help you if you haven't had any conversation at all. And, I'd like to have that opportunity. And then I recommend the group of 3. So every 3 or 4 business days, call back 3 times, right? So that's maybe 12, 15 days. That could be 3 weeks. Then you go to a weekly for 3 times, and then you go to bi-weekly for 3 times. Now that's a long time. Now you've been trying to reach them
Right.
after you've done all that for 3 or 4 months. So then the final one is, is to give up. I give up. It sounds like this opportunity is not going to work out. I'm moving on. That's the message you leave. And sometimes you get a reaction from that, a positive reaction. They go, oh, whoa, wait, don't give up. We've just been stalled. So, but I mean, how long can you go, right? So
Exactly, Mark. Okay. Thank you all so much.
I don't know whether it's JR better who says on your last one, say, since I've not heard from you for a while, this will be the last time that I will contact you. And instead of saying give up, but some phrase like that. And that will sometimes, so put it kind of politely, but let them know that you're done politely.
Okay.
Keisha went and posted something for everybody for a format for follow-ups, a couple little things.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
There. So yes, thank you very much for putting that in the chat. That's great information. All right, somebody else have a question? Okay, if you don't ask a question, you have to listen to them blowing leaves across the street from me.
Okay, I just put the contact for TWC out there.
Oh, great. Kathy Mills, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is Darlene Belisle, and
Yes,
I have a
Darlene.
question.
Okay.
Hi. I'm like not real good at requesting email by email informational, like cold called informational meetings. So do we have like a template or something that's effective to get someone to talk to you?
I can tell you this on 12/10. I think, Jeff, I don't know if you're getting the Dennis's PDF out or not, but on 12/10 at 2 o'clock for the career care, I'm speaking on informational interviewing, and we'll give you a lot more advice on that.
And that's how to get them to begin with?
Right, how to start that conversation.
Okay, because like, yeah, because you have to get a response, like not get ghosted, like the last lady.
Right. I just put in the chat box the informational handout that came from Dennis O'Hagan, he's talked about this handout for the last 15, 20 years, and he passed away in January. And so Walt sort of been picked it up and carried through and watched it. So yeah, he's available next Thursday at 2 o'clock, and you can catch that next Thursday at 2. And you can also see, if you go to past interviewing sessions, you'll be able to find it on the Career USA YouTube channel. If you want to, you could probably type in information interviewing and find Walt's presentation that's already pre-recorded if you don't want to wait.
Something else that works is get somebody to give you an introduction to the person you're trying to talk to. So like what I did is somebody said, well, I'm trying to make a contact in the banking industry. Well, my sister and I have some friends that are in the banking industry. So I wrote them an email. I sent it to my sister and said, I'd like to introduce you to so-and-so. She's looking for a job in the banking interview. Would you talk to her for 10 or 20 minutes about her, her interests? And that works almost 100% every time.
Form introductions are great.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
The Walt's session is really good, and about informational interviewing, that's was session 11 last time. It was October 14th. So if you want to go find that, session 11, October 14th, be the one you want to look at.
Or you can hear them live next Thursday at 2.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, what else can we answer for somebody?
My question, hi Jeff.
Hi Sandra, how are you?
I'm good. So my question is, how do you actually do an informal interview? I've been hearing about this informal interview. I don't know what that is exactly.
Well, the best thing to do would be to watch Walt next Thursday. I can't get that out. Next Thursday at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And he's going to take you through step-by-step talking about it. The handout I stuck in there that sort of will tell you a little bit over about it. And then Mark told you that it's lesson, 11 from October 12th, I guess.
October 14th.
14th. You can go back to the Career USA YouTube channel, look up information, look up interviewing, and then go to that October date, and you'll be able to watch Walt's presentation right away if you want to watch it. You can see that workshop right away. So an information interview is where you just go and you ask people about what it is they do, how they help people. What it is they like about their jobs. We used to have a speaker, and I can't get her anymore because she's just too busy. But we used to have a speaker who, she was a she was an Army wife. Her husband was in the Army, and she was at home, and she was like, I want to join. I want to get in the Army. I want to join too. But before she did it, she went and she interviewed all sorts of people on base. Well, what do you like about your job? If you could pick any job here on base, what would it be? And she did that for like 3 or 4 months and found out that the type of job she wanted was X. And then she went to the recruiting office and said, I want this job. So I want to sign up, but I want this job. Oh, well, but we have cooks and we have, artillery people. We have these kind of jobs. No, I want this particular job. And she laser focused in. She actually got that job, and she became the first woman non-commissioned officer attack helicopter pilot. So, it's just a matter of, you've got to sort of, do a lot of interviewing, figure out what you're interested in, ask people their opinions. So you're doing a reverse interview is all it is. And you never ever ask for a job. That's the whole key. You're just trying to get information and advice.
Thank you.
Her 30-second introduction is, "Hi, I'm an attack Cobra pilot. I kill people."
Oh,
She used to.
Hopefully
Yeah.
bad people.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right, what else can we answer for somebody?
This is Esther Chacon, and I have a question.
Yes.
I've been noticing on the applications that I've been applying for jobs that some companies are not willing to train you a little bit more in certain aspects of, like for me as a sales trainer, I would like to be trained on certain systems or tools. And I keep telling them that I'm taking classes, that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but there's still kind of like a hurdle to overcome. So is there any other approaches or strategies that I can use to overcome that hesitation of them training me a little bit about the future job?
Comments, suggestions?
I'm having a similar problem. Yeah. I mean, for my position I've been doing for 30 years now, I'm being required to know something else. I'm having to go take a medical billing course through WIOA, check with WIOA and see if they can give you some extra help or advice. And who is it that's Dumas? What's his name? Orlando Dumas. That's how I got into the WIOA program. So connect with him and see if he can give you advice on what you can do.
Okay, thank you.
Also, there's a reduced, pretty low cost classes on a website called Udemy, UDEMY. Pretty low cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you go the Udemy route, be sure and wait until they've got a sale going on. They have one about every other month, and you might end up paying $20. Your regular price could be $150.
Okay, thank you.
Also, if you have a library card, your public library probably offers lynda.com, which has a lot of great training programs. And it's the lynda.com was bought by Microsoft. It's part of LinkedIn now. LinkedIn Learning is the same thing as lynda.com, but you can get lynda.com for free with your library card. There's also another website called edx.org, that has a lot of great training classes on it. So, but pretty much whatever you need training in, you should be able to find anything online nowadays. I mean, even the big universities, I mean, Harvard, MIT, they're all putting their classes online nowadays. You don't get credit for it, but you should be able to, you know, take the class, hear the professors, you know, take the lessons. So there's a lot of stuff out there. The Khan Academy, KAHN, Khan Academy is a great organization. They've been around for years with a ton of different classes that you can take. So
thank you.
It's,
you know,
it's
one thing
all
I've
out
been
there.
doing, I'm sorry, one thing I've been doing too is I've been trying to learn some stuff as well that I think would be helpful. I've been doing free demo trials for 30 days or whatever, and then doing some self-teaching. And then a lot of companies have their tutorials on their website. So, you know, and then some of them offer free webinars as well. So to give you an example, I decided I should at least try to learn some of Camtasia. It's one of those instructional designer tools. And so I have their 30-day free trial. I viewed and I played around with it. And then I took a look at a pre-recorded webinar that they had about getting started. And then 2 days ago, I participated in a live webinar about it as well. So, you know, so again, if, you know, I'll certainly put it on my resume, but if someone asks me, you know, I'll be honest and say that, you know, I've got a basic understanding of Camtasia and willing to learn more and et cetera, et cetera. But I think there's a lot that you can do with free demos and trials now too.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a professional? Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, if you're IT related, It looks like Cisco and Juniper are both offering a lot of free and reduced price courses and webinars right now also.
Okay. Thank you.
There are a professional organization that exists that might have people that are familiar with the training that you need. If you get in and talk to someone inside of that organization, they might can give you some personal assistance or lead you or guide you to who might have knowledge, etc.
Okay. Thank you, Walt.
All right, something else. Somebody else have a question?
Jeff,
Yeah, go David.
Okay, thanks. I have a question, but I actually think the last question sort of dovetails into it. I've noticed that a question that I'm not bragging, this has not been recently I've had more interviews than I've had for several months. So hooray. But one of the things I've noticed, because I have been looking for an extended period of time, that a question that has become very common is, what have you been doing with this time? And so I guess the first part of my question is more of a statement. I actually think a lot of the things we just talked about are really good things to be doing and to be talking about. But I also wanted to know, are there other things that would be good things to include in an answer like that?
Yeah. Volunteering.
I like the term, instead of volunteering, community involvement.
Yes.
You know, if you can maybe put that on your community involvement, and you can list, you know, a couple of things maybe that you've done. You don't have to necessarily name the organizations, but you can name the skills that you're using to do those things. You know, you're helping, if you're an HR and you're helping your local church or something, you know, hire somebody to be on that committee to do something. You know, you don't have to mention the church, but just mention that, you know, I'm involved with a local organization in their hiring practices, or, you know, whatever it is you do. I mean, everybody here can volunteer and share their skills somehow. So community involvement's I love that term.
Yeah, that's what I do. I tell everybody I volunteer for the church's food bank.
But what skills do you do? Instead of telling them what skills are you applying? I mean, that's to me, the most important thing. You know, skills that you use in your regular day-to-day job, or what it is you want to do. You know, I'm using these skills to help out with, you know, local food bank or something.
Kind of the hook.
Yeah, the hook.
The hook, yeah. We have to, someone come through the pit crew, this was several years ago, maybe Jeff remembers, who was an accountant, and she was working, I think it was for a food bank. It was like one day a week doing their books and et cetera, maybe more than that, maybe their tax filings. But anyway, that led to a full-time job with a not-for-profit, because, you know, she had some relevant experience.
What else would people recommend putting down for, you know, what are you doing currently?
Another tip on community involvement is the target company that you have. Are they involved in any particular type of community involvement? And then get involved in the same ones that they're involved with. I mean,
Right.
Toyota, for example, does a lot of community stuff, but maybe it's a humanity, you know, Habitat for Humanity or whatever it might be.
What companies are, you know, breast cancer, Alzheimer's, they attach themselves to one major theme that they can, you know, if they're a big multi-state, you know, they can, all over the nation, they can be involved in Alzheimer's, right? Or, you know, breast cancer. So
That's good. All right. Something else.
Yeah, Jeff, this is John Wesley. I'm new to the group, and I'm glad I joined the call this morning. This is very helpful. So thank everyone for all of the information. Jeff, I have a couple of questions. I'm relatively new to the job search process. I ended my career with Allstate at the end of October through a major restructuring, and as a result, lots of reductions in force. So one of the questions I actually have two questions. One of the questions is relative to my resume. Are you all finding any success with posting your resume to these job sites? And then the second question is, have you had any success with including a cover letter as well? I've seen some of the sites where I've applied for positions give you an option to add a cover letter as well. So just open question for the group.
I'll let other people respond first before I give my opinion. So.
Yeah, my resume's been working through the, what do you call it, the ATS systems. Just make sure you don't have bullets in there.
No, by bullets, you mean not special characters, right?
Right, because it throws the system out. So I'm getting bites. I just need someone to hire me.
What else? Other comments?
There's some good suggestions on the Career USA, Career DFW websites about the big job boards and what you should and shouldn't share with them, and gives a little direction. Jeff can speak more to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to do the Barney Fife, you don't want to be the Barney Fife of job search, meaning that for those who remember who Barney Fife is, you don't want to carry one bullet in your pocket when you may need, you want to explore all avenues. So you never know which one's going to hit. I mean, my daughter's case, yeah, she had 19 people introduced her in the companies, and she had conversations with these other companies, but not one of those conversations led to her job that she got. She applied for a job online, they called her, and that's the job that she's taking. So you just never know. You got to do it all. Okay, you got to spend a little time of being on job boards. You have to put a little bit of time, information interview. You got to put a little bit of time doing everything, because you just never ever know. As far as a cover letter, I would submit a cover letter only because, yes, 50%, 70% of the time they don't get read, but they could get read. And if they get read, and if you have a very effective cover letter, meaning it's a T cover letter, meaning that they ask for, I'm looking for someone with 6 years experience, and you say, I've got 6 years experience. They're looking for somebody with an MBA, I have that MBA. Where you can, you sort of put right side, left side, you're looking for this, I've done this. And you make it real easy for the the recruiter to go and say, yeah, you match up, that's great. But once again, that should be the same with your resume. As we talk about every Thursday, we talked about yesterday in the resume class, you want to have, I think you should have a 10, 15 page resume, your master resume that has everything you've ever done on it. And then when you apply for a job, and that's the hard thing about just putting your resume out on a job board, because you're putting out a generic resume. And you don't know, you may call yourself a customer service rep, but they're looking for a customer relationship specialist. It's the same thing, but you're not going to match because it's different job titles. So that's why you have to be very careful. I think you put everything out there on LinkedIn, but you've got to be very careful when you're just posting a generic resume. So with this master resume that you have, this 10-page whatever resume, when you see a job description, you then eliminate everything that's not important. If they don't ask for it, don't tell them about it. I'm sure you've done some really wonderful things, and maybe in an interview you'll be able to share some of those things, but you want to make it easy for the recruiter who's going to spend 7 to 10 seconds looking at your resume going, oh yeah, this person matches, you're in the in pile. And as soon as they find 10 or 15 people in the in pile, then they'll start making phone calls.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say, I just posted the file for the sample T cover letter. If you haven't seen this before, it's very helpful. Basically what you do is, when you see a job description, take the requirements of the job and put it into this T cover letter. And then you can also write down all, how you qualify, how you meet the qualifications. And it's a very good format to use. I've used it many times. Very helpful.
Right. Yeah, it's a very effective. And, if you want, go back to the Career USA YouTube channel, look up Effective Resume Thursdays, and just watch yesterday's presentation on resumes. We talk about T cover letters. We talk about the resume format, primarily for ATS systems, and some other things. So, you're welcome to join us there.
And I think the cover letter has some value in the interview as well. So, and I encourage people to do them, whether they send them or not. And, you know, if you're going to do it, you might as well send it. And you can attach it. You can put it as the last page of your resume or the first page of your resume. So it's not an extra file, but it could also be attached to your your applicant tracking system, because I'll give you most of them an opportunity to upload a file. But the value of it in the interview is, I've done this analysis of the job description. This is basically what you say. I've done this analysis of the job description, but I wanted to hear from you what you believe are the most important or the highest priority things that need to be accomplished in this role. And so now you've got this analysis and you're asking them, is there anything else? Or what's the right order for these? So I'd recommend you do your T cover letter as the requirements appear in the job description. So there's alignment between the job description and your cover letter. So if it says I need this first, then you put that first. But the fact of the matter is the very first item may not be the most important thing. And so you have to ask to figure that out.
Right. Yes, great information. Stephen, I think did you have a question? You were muted and we didn't get to hear your question. Stephen Kordak? Nope, okay, I guess not. Somebody else, do we have another question from somebody?
All right, so this is something I've been turning over in my head.
Sorry, guys, I do have a question. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I was muted out trying to download that cover letter. So excuse me. I'm a first-time person, so good morning to everybody. The question is back about when you're asked, what have you been doing during your job transition period? I'm a parent of a special needs child. I have an 11-year-old autistic son, and he takes up a good amount of time. And I've had several endeavors and things that I needed to prepare for him for school. And is that fair game to tell someone like, hey, I've got a special needs kid, and he's taken up a lot of time. He is going to school on campus, so it's not homeschool or a virtual school. So that was my question.
My question back to you, Stephen. Well, what would an interviewer think if you mentioned that?
Well, usually it's going to go two ways. One is empathy and like, hey, this guy's got, a special need that he's dealing with. Or two, he's going to just say, hey, this is not relevant. And then just, either write me off or go forward.
I can give you a third option. One is you may not be able to fulfill the requirements of this job because of the time commitment that you have with your son. So if you volunteer that information, you run the risk of saying, I have too many other commitments that I have to pay attention to that are priorities over the job. So if you don't mention it at all, but if you do mention it, I would at least include and add that, but in no way do I see this interfering with my abilities to do and meet the requirements of the job.
Sure, I'm usually pretty transparent about having a special needs kid and just the time sometimes things take. In fact, that kind of limits me on my travel, being a sales professional, and then also to the need to work out of my house because I need flexibility with or work remotely, because I need flexibility because things come up from time to time. But so I understand your third point, Walt. So thank you.
Even though the disability is not your own, does it come under the area of reasonable accommodations for disabilities?
Well, if it was for me, I think so. But because it's my son, I mean, all my employers that I've had have been really cooperative with me on this subject when it comes to my son Spencer. So so I've been fortunate on that, but I've been very upfront and very transparent with people, and also too that I'm a very big advocate with my coworkers on autism awareness.
Let me ask you to think about this. Number one, I kind of recommend staying away from personal information in an interview.
Okay.
So my second thought would be, get them to want you first before you bring it up. And then you can put that into the negotiation phase and let them know that there's some things that are going on. But early on, they might eliminate you. Later on, if they want you, then they'll be, willing to make some accommodations and help you.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that's just a suggestion.
No, and that's actually what's transpired with my two former employers since I've had my son. They were very interested in me, and then I was very transparent with them about my situation at home. And they, like I said, they were both very, very supportive.
Yeah. So my reaction is, you may want to tell them at the right moment, but when they ask you what you've been doing, this is what you suggested there, taking care of your son is not something special that you've been doing. That's continuing and will continue afterwards. And so I think really you need to talk more towards what you've been doing to stay fresh in your field, or to contribute over and above what you normally have to do.
Sure.
You still, and I assume you're trying to select target companies where you have some, belief ahead of time that they're going to be flexible about your situation. But I'm with Walt as well. When they've decided you're someone they need to help them, then you can have the discussion about your situation.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate your input.
But see, chances are you may be working remote anyway, so they really don't need to know.
Understand. Thank you.
All right, Laura, sorry, we cut you off.
No problem. So my question is, I've seen a couple positions that I've applied for maybe 2 or 3 months ago, reposted recently, like in the last few days or a week. What is everyone's thought on, if you think you're really a good fit, is to reach back out and say, and I got the polite thank you, but no thank you. We're moving on with other candidates. Well, clearly that didn't work out. So how do you reposition yourself as a second round candidate, maybe since they're reposting the position?
Well, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to have a phone interview. I got rejected by a company 2 times. I sent an email to that recruiter. I admit that I match this position perfectly. What is it I need to do that you're looking for? Well, goofy me, I sent it to the wrong recruiter, the wrong company, but I got an interview with the other company. And it's coming up in 15 minutes. So sometimes you just reach out and you get lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's exactly it. So yeah, if you get a contact inside the company and that contact may be the recruiter, and I wouldn't volunteer that you've already applied. The statement is, I'm perfect for this job. I have the things you need. I can help you. And here's my application number. So hopefully you get a chance to talk to them, but even I think if you leave a message, it's possible. And once they, pull you out of the ATS, you're in a completely different realm, of opportunity.
You also need to make sure it's a new reposting and not just an aggregator picking up on a job that was put out 2 months ago and posting it as if it was posted yesterday.
Just picked it up. That's a good point.
Yeah, that happens a lot. And then you go all the way through it and you find out the job's closed.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go back to the company's website, if you see it on Indeed or Monster, you want to go back to the company website and see, is it really still there, or did you get picked up accidentally? But I would definitely reach back out. I know my daughter, in a couple cases, she really wanted a job at Etsy. And the first time she applied, she got rejected. She got the generic letter. She saw him apply the same kind of job again. She applied a second time. She at least got a phone call out of it, but they were looking for somebody a little bit different skills. And then she saw the exact same job a third time, applied again, and then she had a longer conversation with them. But, you just keep applying. I mean, you never, it could be a different recruiter, it could be in a different department. It could be the same job, but maybe not. You never know. And if you've got good relationships yesterday, Carol was talking about a client of hers who had applied for a job and didn't get it, and wrote everybody, especially people in HR, thank you very much for the opportunity. Really enjoyed meeting you, and thank you for the opportunity. And he happened to see another job pop open, and he contacted those people. Oh yeah, he got him in interviews. He didn't get the job again, but sent nice thank you notes and everything again. Thank you for reaching out. I really enjoyed, talking with you. If anything opens in the future, please let me know. And she said third time, HR people called, so we were so impressed. And, we don't get a lot of thank you notes in HR. And the fact that you wrote us a thank you note, we really appreciate it. So we want to find we wanted to get you hired here somehow. And they found him a job and got the hiring manager to agree to hire the person. So you just keep reaching out.
And there's the person that wrote the thank you note after rejection, and they called back and said, oh, we sent you the wrong letter. You should have gotten an offer letter. So you never know.
Yeah.
Always send thank you notes for rejections. Don't thank them for rejecting you. Thank them, but thank them. And particularly if it's a target company, you just never give up on a target company.
Yeah. And even
one of my targets is Dallas College, and I haven't been able to find a way in. So I'm really interested to know if anybody has any connections within Dallas College.
That's the formal name, Dallas College. If I looked it up on LinkedIn.
They have Dallas College and Collin College. They have both rebranded, restructured. And so the individual locations are now called campuses. So it's, for instance, Cedar Valley campus at Dallas College. So yes.
In fact, I'm planning on going back to school, and I have like a meeting with them at 1:30 today. I'm not interviewing for that job. I'm just going back to school.
Well, good for you on that, Chandra. Congratulations. What are you going back to school for?
I think I'm going back to school for either education or business. And I checked creative arts as well.
Yeah, I think Dallas Colleges, they found out that you took classes at Mountain View and you couldn't transfer them to Richland. If you took them on one campus, you couldn't transfer another campus, and the hours weren't the same. And they realized that, what are we doing here? We're all part of the Dallas Community College program, but yet we can't transfer hours between campuses. What's going on here? That's why they decided to change.
That was a big part of it, because people were having credits all over the place and couldn't get an actual degree from them. And so that was a big part of the reason for both of them, Collin and Dallas College, doing that.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Something else we can answer for somebody.
I was going to tell Laura, you can use some of the filters on LinkedIn and check and see if any of your first or second contacts has contacts with somebody at Dallas College, or see if any Dallas College recruiters are on LinkedIn, and then either ask your connection for an introduction or just contact their recruiter directly, but use LinkedIn to help you find that connection.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, another question.
Jeff, I just had maybe another comment on the individual that mentioned that they'd been rejected. The thing that I always look at is when you say rejected, what do you mean? Is you applied through the ATS and you received a generic email from recruiting that said that you weren't selected. To me, that's not rejected. If you've been through 3 interviews, you've met the hiring manager's boss, and some of your future colleagues, and they pass on you, that's rejection. If the hiring manager does not know who you are, then there's no reason not to continue applying until you get the chance to talk to them.
That's a good difference. Thank you, David. And even if you do get rejected, and this has happened twice in this group that I'm aware of over the years, 2 different times, 60 days after they got, they were rejected, they wrote thank you notes to everybody, all the people they met. I really enjoyed meeting you, good luck. 60 days later, they wrote them another note saying, just want to, let you know, I'm still interested in your company. I'm still looking. It would be a great opportunity if maybe there's something new happening at your company that maybe a new opportunity, something worded much better than that. And 2 people I know got hired because the person that originally got the job, either they didn't fit or they talked a good game, but they couldn't do the work. And they blew that person out within 90 days and brought the number 2 or number 3 person in just because they followed up with this letter because, well, we already liked you. You were already in the finals. We knew, but we picked the other person just because we thought we liked this person better and they couldn't do the job. So, even being rejected as a finalist, follow up 60 days later because you never know.
I have a question.
Okay.
In this Zoom interview environment, you're interviewing with the hiring manager and someone else. How do you get their contact information? Because I just had one on Monday and they said, oh, just send the email to, because I asked for the contact information and they said, just send the email to the HR person and we'll get it. So if you want to be personal, how can you be personal when you're sending it to the HR people? And, I said thank you to, and their names, and I wrote down all the great things. And obviously it must have worked because I have a second interview at 12:30 today to meet the team. So I'm really excited about that. But how do you identify who you're supposed to email when you don't get business cards anymore?
Well, hopefully before the interview, whoever schedules the interview with you, that you can ask that HR person, who will I be interviewing with? What is their job title? Can I have their contact information? And gather it there. If not, look them up on LinkedIn. If not, Google them. You never know. If you get their name and stuff, maybe you can find them listed someplace.
Yeah, I mean,
get a name. Most companies use a standard format for their email. Just guess what their email probably is and send it. And if it doesn't go, it'll bounce back on you and you'll know it didn't make it.
Okay, yeah, because I did ask. I said, are you, because I got through on this position through a contact that used to work with me. And I said, do you have the same email as this person? And they were like, well, we don't know what her email is. Just send it to the HR. So I was like, okay, thank you.
Roxanne, if I could play devil's advocate just for a moment, having been a hiring manager in a company where HR was very specific about what contact I could have with a candidate and what contact I could not have. If a hiring manager or somebody that you talk to suggests you go through the HR person, if you find their email, find them on LinkedIn, reach out to them separately, that could actually be detrimental to you because a lot of HR groups are concerned about a hiring manager saying something stupid to an employee or a potential employee that could then be used against them. So the previous company I worked for, we were absolutely not to have any interaction with a potential candidate until after the position had been closed. And I had to document every conversation I had with anybody and verify that I didn't say anything stupid. They didn't ask me any dumb questions. I know that sounds kind of crazy. I would be really cautious about how that particular individual might react to you finding their LinkedIn, finding their email, until you've been a little further down the process. But I think specifically since they direct you to go through HR, I would respect that at this point.
Yeah, I've had companies where HR was the direct contact as well. And, they were very reluctant and they don't want you to say the wrong thing. And this is a very big company. So they might, and they have different departments that do different things. Like the interviewing HR person hands it over to a scheduling department to schedule this. So I did know who I was interviewing with. It just didn't include their email address, just who I would be meeting on Zoom.
Yeah.
Hey,
connection on LinkedIn.
Hey, Roxanne, this is John Wesley. David kind of stole my thunder. David, you're absolutely right. Roxanne, I wouldn't take it personally. Just putting my HR hat on, it's really standard procedure at this point. And to David's point, typically as you go further into the interview process and you're one of the final candidates, oftentimes they will offer that information, that personal information to you, but it's probably because you're so early in the process. So I think David nailed it. So don't take it personally.
Okay, yeah, because I think it's today, and if today works out, it'll be the final coming up with the big boss. So keeping my fingers crossed.
Hey, good luck.
Somebody tells me not to take it personally, I take it personally.
You can always ask the HR person that you are connected with, say, hey, may I reach out to so-and-so? And if they don't want you to, they should tell you.
Yeah.
Now, let me clarify one thing. I would say this: if you get in that zone where they're not responding to you, at that point, all bets are off. You've got nothing to lose. Stalk away.
Yeah, well, that's why I did my email, and now I got this interview, but somebody filled the position and didn't work out. So I'm in that little tight spot too right now. Am I going to work out?
You got to think positive.
Yeah.
Hey, this is your job.
Yeah.
All right, we have something else from somebody. Bless you, Laura.
Thank you.
For those people who we can see online, when you sneeze, we know it. When you hide yourselves, we don't get to see you. So, you know, there you go. Everybody's turning off their cameras now. They don't want to be seen.
These allergies.
Allergies, yes. Mountain Cedar's back.
That kind of brings up a point that when you get a initial contact, one of the things that I suggest you find out in a company is what has to happen for you to get on board. What's their process? How many interviews? What's your time frame? Who's the decision maker? Sometimes the decision maker is the hiring manager. Sometimes it's HR. But find out all that information as much as you can to see what their process is and how you would get hired there. And that helps you determine how often you touch base with them, find out who's going to be your interviewers before the interview, et cetera. As much information as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they haven't filled the position yet, you haven't been eliminated. Get in there and still dig.
Yeah. All right, anything else? Something else we can answer for somebody? Going once. Going twice. No more questions? All right, well, I'll share my screen and we'll wrap up the meeting here. So just next week, don't remember, our speakers will talk about tracking network leads with Excel. If you have an Excel program or Excel spreadsheet or whatever the Apple equivalent is, page numbers, I guess is what it's called. Whatever you're using, have it up, have it ready. Maybe you'll see some fields that you're going to want to add. If you'd like to share your presentation or share your screen with us next week, we'll be able to do that because I know he's going to want to do that. So it should be an interesting presentation next week. For everybody, hopefully everybody has put in their 30-second introductions in the Zoom chat box or online. If you're on Facebook right now, if you'll put in your name, phone number, email address, position you're looking for, 2 or 3 target companies, and then hit the return key for those people like John who are brand new today, and Stephen who are just joining us for the first time. Please make sure your information's in there. I will send you a invitation to our groups, our groups. I mean, Yahoo groups made sense. So our groups group. Okay. I'm gonna have to come up with a better name for that. If somebody's got a better way how to say that, let me know. And I'll send that information out this afternoon. Coming up next week, Career DFW and Career SA, every week we do a LinkedIn presentation. Next Tuesday, Kurt Vondermatter. If you've not seen Kurt's presentation, you definitely want to join us next Tuesday. Kurt spends around $20,000 a year with LinkedIn. He pays for the recruiting package, and he's going to show us what the recruiting package looks like from the back end so that he'll show you how he finds you. So a very interesting presentation, and this is his business. I mean, he's a retained recruiter with different companies, and he finds people all over the country. He'll be able to show us that. So very, very interesting. Next Wednesday, Walt Glass will be with us to talk about distinctive interviewing at the Interview Success Special Guest Speaker Series on Wednesday. And then in January, the 13-part session will start over again. The workshop will start over again in January. And then on Thursday, we do our effective resume tips, effective resume Thursdays, every Thursday at 1 o'clock. Please join us. If you want to submit a resume, you can submit your resume. You can eliminate the name and phone number so that it won't show up on Facebook and YouTube forever and ever, but you'll be able to get some great resume tips and find out what we're talking about. This session and all the sessions are being recorded, and they will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and on the Career USA YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook. That way, every time we go live, you'll get a little alert saying that we're currently going live. And if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, every time we post a new video, you'll find out what the new title of the video is. And you can go back. We have, I think, 120 to 130 different programs that have been recorded now on the YouTube channel. So we keep adding to it every week. We added 4. We're going to add 4 more of them this week. This presentation will be up there later this afternoon. So if you go to the YouTube channel, it looks something like this. Go to Career USA YouTube channel. Click on playlist, and playlist should pop up when you first get to it. And you'll see what's on there. Don't click on the video right here in the middle. You want to make sure you click down here where the red arrow is, which says view full playlist, and up will come a whole list of all the different sessions and their titles, and you can pick whatever you want. If you want to talk about interviewing, click on the interview full playlist. If you want to do the resume one, click over here on resumes, view full playlist, and you'll find out what we're talking about every week. So thank you very much for joining us today. Have a great weekend. Looks like the sun's out today. We didn't have any sun yesterday, so should be a nice sunny day, nice sunny weekend. So have a great weekend, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Jeff.